Boom.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session where we're going to be talking about paid ads on Facebook very specifically. But before we go into anything, do check out channel sponsor, which is this man himself, the news guy. The link is below. So make sure if you're interested in PR that you go and check out the news guy and he will sort you out. Great service, if I must say so myself. But
thank you, mate.
But yeah, also if you're watching, we're also happy to answer questions.
Yeah.
If you've got anything you want to throw in there in terms of input, also stick it in the chat. We will be talking about Facebook ads specifically. We try and keep this particular session on topic where we can, rather than doing a free-for-all like we do with Chris Palmer, where you can ask anything. It just gets really messy. Well, it doesn't. It's fun, but yeah, this one we don't want to be talking about Facebook ads and then someone asks about a GMB listing or something like that.
Yeah, I thought, I threw this out to you earlier this morning only because, we got this group and I know there was quite a bit of discussion, I think over the weekend, really, in regards to Facebook ads and, the various different kind of subtleties that you can do with the ads and where you send and blah, 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 and conversions on it and everything. And I thought, this could be an interesting conversation that we could have today. And in talking about, maybe some stuff, because I know you have done in the past, and maybe you still do, Facebook ads. I have done some in the past. Yeah. However, I will say I just suck at it. I get horrible outcomes from it or returns on it. But I do have some thoughts about some of this stuff. So anyway, that's where I had the background on it. And so I'll just throw out as well. Hey, folks, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe Craig's channel, because he still, even though he's over 1 million subscribers, it's got the gold plaque to prove it. But we still like to get him more, though.
Yeah,
so.
I want the next goal is the Ruby, which is 10 million.
Yeah, what is that? That is crazy, right?
But yeah, that would be the ultimate dream, to get to 10 million, but that's probably going to take about another 40 years.
I wondered about that. I'm like close to 100. I'm like, I don't know, something like 16,000 or something like that away from 100. I'm like at 85, 86, somewhere right around in there.
It gets slower and slower, dude. That's the fucking worst thing. It gets slower and slower, and you're like, fucking come on.
Will it happen? Yeah, I know. Hey. All right. So questions for you. So are you still doing Facebook ads, and for what purpose? What do you do ads for?
So the Facebook ads, I've got a couple of other businesses, not SEO related.
Right.
And I mainly run the ads on them. I don't really need to do it for Craig Campbell as such. But certainly for the Link Agency and some of the other businesses I've got, I run Facebook ads, and I think a lot of people choose to ignore it. And like you said, like when you were talking, the person in particular in the mastermind who has been quite vocal on the WhatsApp that's doing really well with Facebook ads, he was showing me his Facebook ads, and he's like, Facebook ads are shit. Facebook ads are shit. And I'm like, change this and do that. And dude, he's like, fuck, this is amazing. I'm getting X amount of leads. So it's the small things. And I think we've touched on it before in a previous session. Do you take people off of Facebook to fill out the contact form in your website?
Right.
Or do you feed them a Facebook contact form?
Right.
Where it automatically populates the person's information. It makes life a lot easier. That one small change can make a massive difference to the amount of data you collect. And I think you've got to to try and test these things, because people like yourself, you say, oh yeah, I've tried it and I've not had a great output. My argument to you would be, did you try all of the fucking things that you could do? You probably say, nah, I just flung some money at it and it didn't work, so fuck it, Craig, it doesn't work. But there's those little nuances that can make
Yeah.
a massive difference.
Now, I will say this. So I've done, hey Jesper, I have done where I've done the Facebook ads and I've sent them to a landing page off-site, off Facebook. And then I've done where I've done the Facebook form, the direct form. By far, I get more leads, quote unquote, I'll call it, but more, at least data, more emails coming, forms filled via the form fill on Facebook than I did on going off page to a landing page. Now, my conversion on that, and this is where it comes into, I guess, a little bit. But before I even start talking about conversions, so I will say, doing the form fill on Facebook, much better, much better results, like night and day compared to taking them off and trying to have them fill out a landing page. And I've played around a little bit even with that form, right? So like, because I know in the discussion, even like I've done it where I've had it like a double opt-in, so to speak. Like, hey, if you want to do this, great, click. That's the ad. Click here to get more information. Boom, 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 and I take them, and then within the form, like, yeah, click again in order to submit your information or something like that. But have them have to do a multiple step. My mindset was, and why I did it that way at one point, or in kind of altering, was I was trying to drive better conversion of the ad. So I get the lead, I get their email, their information. That's great. But then I wanted like, okay, and I was trying to do it obviously to sell our press releases. And I was trying to then up the conversion level on those leads coming in. And what I realized is that, and this was my experience, and I'm sure others have tested this far better than I did. But I did not see a better conversion if I was doing the what I'll call double opt-in versus if I didn't. And as a matter of fact, actually what I saw then was less flow through, right? I ended up getting, when I had the double opt-in, I got less leads coming in, and they didn't perform any better than if I didn't have the double opt-in. So I said, well, hell with that. The leads are better, right? So I'm like, give me the leads and I'll just, because ultimately, and this is what I do think down the road of our conversation here, ultimately the email has got value, right? As long as I'm continuing to build this email list, whether they convert today or they convert 6 months from now, that's value.
Yeah.
And so where I have landed is that, and I think similarly in the conversation that was happening in the mastermind group, is that I can do the ads, send them to the form, the Facebook form directly. I will get leads, I'll quote unquote leads, right? People will send me their email, they'll opt in. And whether they kind of transact, shortly thereafter, meaning that day or within the next 5 days even. Um, but that's still value to me. And I do know that as if I've looked back over time to see where purchases have come through, so through my CRM, I'm like, oh, well, people still are buying via Facebook leads. But some of it is like I've got to go like hit them multiple times through my email before they'll take action. Um, and I do a funnel, right? So you come in off of that Facebook form, I get your email right away. And I send them like emails, like I've got a funnel set up and I'm like sending them stuff like immediately. And then another, I think it's like 7 or 8 hours after the first one. And then like a day after that second one goes out, I send them again. So even within the first like 72 hours, I think they're getting like 3 different emails from me of varying stages, right? But I don't know.
I think the thing you said that I think I would like to go back to is so many people, Randy, think that you just switch on Facebook ads and stuff just converts like a motherfucker. You're just going to get sale after sale after sale
Yeah,
after sale.
yeah.
You need to be
That's
really
what I want, though. What?
yeah,
Come on, that's what I want.
but you're going to need to be really lucky to be able to pull that off. And I think many people ignore the fact that you're collecting data and you're getting them into a funnel, and then you can nurture them, throughout that funnel and educate them and all that kind of stuff. And everyone I speak to when it comes to Facebook ads is always wanting to make money tomorrow. They think they spend 100 today, and they should have 1,000 tomorrow, or whatever. And that's not always the case. It's
Right.
just not. It's you've got to retarget. You've got the ability to collect this data, retarget these people. 90% of people who land on a website bugger off and don't take action. It's your job as a marketer to convince them, and they might have just been having a glance, but
Right,
it's up
right.
to you to have the best funnel. And when you talk about that funnel, if I'm like, at the very top of the funnel, I'm just dipping my toe in the water trying to find out what SEO is, and I get fucking bombarded with 3 emails in 72 hours or whatever. I'm unsubscribing, dude. I'm gone. So for me, I personally think that's aggressive as fuck. And and I think most people who are, there's a lot of people who just take action and buy. Obviously, they know what they're looking for and stuff like that. But I think that massive amount of people, when it comes to online, even PR blasts, whatever it is you do, people don't know what it is. They don't understand it, so they are dipping the toes in the water. And they're like, "Oh, I've heard someone mention this. I'm just going to have a quick look." And before you know it, Randy's in there. Hey man, fucking buy this and discount that and whatever.
Now, I will say though, I have not done. I don't approach it that way. So, like, I could walk through this funnel, and maybe you are like, the very first email is almost just an acknowledgement, like, hey, thanks for let's connecting, or something along that lines. I can't remember the exact verbiage on it, but it really is just a confirmation. Hey, I've got your information. Thanks for submitting. I look forward to talking with you further. And then I say, just be on the lookout. I'm going to send you a free book about press releases and how to use them effectively, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second email that comes like 7 or 8 hours later is that PDF book that we have put together that just really talks about how you can maximize press releases in your online marketing. And then within that book, we do some very soft sell. And at the end of that email, I think, hey, and I'm not even selling it. I actually even say, hey, if you'd like to talk about your next press release project or have further questions, here's my calendar. I'd love to schedule a chat. I'm not even selling. I'm just like, hey, schedule something. Let's talk.
Yeah.
The third email, then I get a little more that comes like a day after that second one. Then I soft sell. I'm like, hey, I hope you had a chance to leaf through the book. If you have any questions, love to chat. Here's my calendar link. And if you'd like to go ahead and step into a PR, here's a coupon to try our services. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, there'll be people that argue that you've got to push your way in. Just personally, I feel again, people expect big sales straight away, or they expect to create a really aggressive funnel and all the money comes in. And I just think there's a balance. It depends on what you sell as well, but
I know. Yeah.
It's you've just got to try and test it. It's essentially what you have to do and see what works.
Yeah. Now, then, like, following through, then after that third email, they go into my general kind of email campaigning that we do, that I send out, 1 or 2 emails a week on about info and blah, blah, blah. And coming from that, generally what I have seen, like if I went back and I looked at over the last 6 months through our Facebook ads, I have seen then conversion on those, but come well after the initial opt-in point. It could be a month, could be 2 months, 3 months even down the road. And then I'm like, I either have a call with somebody scheduled, or they actually just go online and utilize the coupon purchase. I'm like, huh, great.
That's the other thing, Randy. When do people convert? And you messaged me last week, and you're like, "Oh, Craig, so and so ordered." That was a conversation I had with a guy in May. May, because when you message, I'm like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I remember him. We had the conversation about building your brand and knowledge panel and all that kind of
Right.
stuff." The guy was interested. He's like, "Where can I buy this? Where can I buy that? Where do you get this? Where do you get that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go here, go there, go there." And he didn't take action until
Right.
middle of August or whatever it was. And that was a conversation I had with in May with someone. So people don't take action straight away. It's certainly not in the
Yeah.
space. I've spoke to guys a year and a half before they've actually went ahead and done something. Believe it or not, they're just not at the right time. They're fact finding just now, and that's where I think again in our space in particular, you have to consider that as well. Is you need to see this as a kind of brand building exercise and keep in front of those eyes as well, and the retargeting and everything. That is where it's really, really important to, set up retargeting and softly address these people or just inform them that you're still there. And I think you've got to play around with that side of things as well. And when it comes to Facebook ads, for me, a big proportion usually of the budget will be based on retargeting. We find that works better. So obviously, installing your Facebook pixel and all of that kind of stuff, and making sure that you regularly feed in emails and everything else into Facebook to retarget to, because the cold approach to doing it is very hit or miss. And I think if you've got a warm audience, people who've been in your website and so on, why are you not following them around the internet? And even Graham Greaves, another one, who does a lot of Facebook ads, and I've had people locally say to me, "See your fucking mate, his face is getting on my fucking nerves." Graham's very, very aggressive in the retargeting side as well, and it works very, very well for him. He clearly creates a lot of leads, and he's grown massively for a guy that's only been in the industry for 3 or 4 years as an agency. And I'm pretty sure he would say the growth of his agency is probably down to Facebook ads. So, a lot of his business came from that. And again, just following people about the internet who've landed on your website that maybe didn't convert or didn't ask a question. They've just seen what they've had to see and buggered off. You just got to keep reminding them what it is. But equally, I think, that hook is the big part on it as well. What are you offering up front to these people? And you can't just say, "Give me your money, guys. Come and buy this, that, and the next thing." You've got to hook them in with something.
Yeah. Well, and I think that a good point to emphasize or re-emphasize that you are like I'm a farm boy from Nebraska, right? So I grew up on a farm. I have the mindset that I know that, I'm going to get out in the fields in April, May, kind of prep the field, get it ready. I'm going to start planting. But I know I'm not going to go to harvest this stuff until October, maybe even in November. Like I got a long, I've done all of this work, lay out the irrigation pipes. I'm out there weeding the shit, putting herbicides down, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to even harvest it, let alone go sell it until way into the late fall. And I think that you have to have that same mentality a little bit when you're doing ads and when you're doing brand building. You have to recognize, like, you're doing all of that work. Don't think about, hey, I need this thing to convert during this next week. Otherwise, I think this is for shit, right? So I'm not going to do it anymore. It's like, no, man, you got to put in the work, got to keep grinding it. You got to keep putting it out there because, to your point, what you've been saying, it will take time. people get comfortable, they begin to trust you, they hear and see other things about whatever it is, right? But ultimately, I think you just keep grinding and keep doing, and you will see. I'm a big believer. I think ultimately you will see then the fruits of that labor at a certain point.
It's a common. This is not related to Facebook ads as such, but I get
Oh
asked
yeah,
all the time. I get asked all the time from people, Craig. I want to do a video promotion on your YouTube channel. Now, obviously, a one-off video, is that likely to convert that well for a new unknown brand? It's not. It really isn't. I mean,
right,
it might. People go, "Oh, fuck it."
right,
Depends on the
right.
product, but again, the longevity of something like that works a hell of a lot better because people will see the same thing time and time again. And it's the same with sponsoring conferences. You do it to one conference, you may be lucky and you get a quick cash grab there. But if you do multiple conferences over
Right.
a period of time, like Sem Rush have, it blew the brand up
Yep.
massively. And I think you always have to think of the long term play. If you keep seeing Sem Rush, you're like, who the fuck are these? What is it? And eventually you'll be like, what the fuck is it they do? And
Yeah.
obviously you go and potentially look at them. But I do think that the long term play is what works best. Whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's a YouTube promotion, or whatever. Even YouTube in itself, Randy. Most of us have battered out podcasts and videos with little to no traction, no return of investment for your time. But once you push through that barrier, people trust you and
Yeah. Yeah.
it starts to pick up. So even
Yeah.
organically, it
Yeah.
takes time. So, I think there's a lot more to it than just dropping a grand into ads and expecting to make 10. I think you have to think of the bigger picture and the longer term strategy and what you're trying to do. And like you say, data is the key. Data is money.
Yeah.
Email
Yeah.
list
Yeah.
is money. And people don't see it that way. They really don't. I say to people all the time, people say, "Oh, I've done that campaign and it didn't fucking do much, and I never made any sales." And you're like, "Dude, you've got like 460 emails here that you bought for
Right.
a couple £100. Like, there's more we can do to
Yeah.
maybe educate or whatever these people need because maybe they didn't find what they wanted through your
Right. Right.
website." So,
And
yeah,
then the beautiful thing about that, once you have that email list, I mean, you can like keep emailing, keep sending stuff, different types of material. Something down the road may click with them that then begins to, pay off for you at that point. That makes a conversion or makes a sale. But I think it's him. I don't. What is BAMF? BAMF. What does that mean? I mean, I kind of put it like maybe big ass motherfuckers, but I don't know.
I think it's badass motherfuckers. I think,
Badass.
but
That sounds
Brian,
better. Badass,
Brian
because
might be
my ass
telling me
is not
something
that big.
else.
Yours might be, but I
I've
haven't
got a
looked
skinny ass now.
I haven't looked at your ass for a while, so I don't.
It's significantly smaller.
Yeah.
Um, so but nah, I think it's badass
Badass.
motherfuckers.
Badass. I like the badass. That's good. All right. I was gonna hit you up on, I like the conferences. You were talking about the conferences and you got to do multiple. There is a stat somewhere, and I don't know. I I completely agree with the concept of it and the theory of it. I don't know exactly if it's a science, but bottom line is there's some stat that says, hey, people need to have like 5 to 12, whatever that number is, interactions or engagements with your brand, whether it's an ad, an email, but see it on social before they will begin to think about doing business with you or doing some service. So they need that repeated, like, oh, there's that Craig Campbell guy again. Oh, I just saw something on him on Twitter, or there's one of his videos and he's doing a podcast guesting somewhere, right? So the multiple interactions or engagements with the brand before it even begins to resonate. Like, who are they? Oh, maybe I should go look at them a little bit more on for whatever the purpose is. So yeah, it's that you got to have that continual push.
Yeah, it's for sure. And the other thing, Randy, when you're pushing um, your PR, who's to say that person actually wants fucking PR? You need to show them other things that you've got,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, the abilities in. It might just be consultancy. I don't know if you offer consultancy or not, but you know, and you probably don't. I don't believe you've got it on your website anyway. But you know, these are things. You know, I was speaking to my social media girl the other day, and I'm like, I know what makes me money. You know, from a Craig Campbell perspective, I know what I sell, what I'm prepared to sell, and what makes me money. Am I promoting it enough? Absolutely not. You know, do I promote my
right,
mastermind enough? Nope.
right,
Do I promote consultancy enough? Nope. Do I, you know, so what am I doing? You know, I'm building a brand and offering information, but I'm not hammering home the commercial side of things.
right,
And that is something that I have to strive to do better. You know, I do have a link building agency that I don't talk about a hell of a lot. Again, why am I not doing that? Why,
right, right,
you know, money's money, and you know, we're all wanting to do it. And again, you look at your stuff, you're probably, well, I could add on another 3 or 4 services, because when you're retargeting these people, if you're retargeting them with the same shit that they're not interested in, it's still not going to convert any better. So you have
right.
to have a, you know, multiple options for these people to give yourself a
Yep,
higher chance of a conversion as well. And that's something else I see is people try to ram the one key service down someone's throat, and you're like, dude, you could offer them so much more. um and that's the you know, the key when it comes to digital anyway, is potentially, you know, use that channel, multi service approach. And Brian is saying that this is gold. Omni-channel marketing is money. It really is. I think it's criminal not to do stuff on the various other platforms that are out there. And I know you, Randy, have
yeah,
taken not Facebook, YouTube on under your wing, and you know, ran with that and done the podcast and everything else. But I'm pretty sure your Twitter presence, for example, is a hell of a lot less than it is on YouTube and whatnot. So, you know, I think we all have to strive to do better on all of these channels, because there's money on all of these channels, all of them. LinkedIn as
yeah,
well.
yeah, 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 yeah. I yes, and uh, I will confess, I do a horrible job on LinkedIn. Like I even just I don't like LinkedIn. um, well, I will tell you, truth be told, in general, I don't like a lot of social media platforms, but you do what you do because, right, this is business, and that's the business we're in. Um, but LinkedIn is just one that I have tried, and I'm like, oh, and I've told myself I'm going to dig into this one. I'm no different than anybody else that says, oh, I'm going to, first of the year, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to go hit the road, I'm going to do. I do the same thing with LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get into LinkedIn. I'm going to make this happen, and blah blah blah. And I just like, oh, this I don't enjoy doing, and I lose interest, and I fade. And I know I don't get any results on LinkedIn because I have done a crappy job with it. Um, Twitter, I'm more active on Twitter. We do a lot more stuff, and I do get more traction with it because I do more with it, right?
Yeah,
Facebook, I do, or not Facebook, but YouTube, I probably put the most effort in of some of these platforms, and rightfully, I get probably the most effort or the most return off of that
yeah,
coming back. So, I mean, it makes sense, but it is hard to do it. And I even have staff that are doing some of the other stuff. I haven't turned over like a staff to do the LinkedIn piece. I probably should or could. I guess maybe I feel like that's a little bit more, uh, I don't know, like that really is my, me more so than some of the other stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Maybe that's wrong. I think that LinkedIn is much more of the real person, and Twitter or whatever seems like, well, that could be anybody. It's not quite as personal, maybe. I don't know.
No, I think LinkedIn is pretty much a, if I'm reading it, I would expect it to come from the person, not some VA
Right. Right. Yeah.
writing that stuff. But
Yeah.
I think there's only so much you can do with your time, so
Yeah.
you've just got to double down on what's working.
Yeah.
Um, but Cato says different platforms equals different approaches for sure. Something I learned recently, Brian, was weirdly or not, the content that I post in Facebook. See, if I post now on Facebook, I probably 99.9% of the people on there are industry peers on my Facebook. Now, if I was to do a post talking about SEO, it gets very average engagement. If I
Mm,
do something with Charlie, for example, everyone likes to see it. I posted a picture the other night, it's got more than 100 likes and all that stuff. And you're like, fuck, these people on Facebook don't want to, my industry peers don't want to hear my fucking bullshit about SEO or what I'm selling. And I'm like, fuck. So I tried a few different things and I'm like, fuck, it's plain as day. Like when I post the SEO stuff, no one's engaging. They don't give a fuck. When I post family stuff, they're probably looking at me as a friend going, oh, there's Craig out with the family, blah,
right.
blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
Right.
So I think understanding that as well, it's a different channel has a different approach, and
Mm,
there's different audiences on that. Like obviously YouTube, I think is much more educational. We can talk about SEO. People come here for this stuff. Twitter is very similar. Instagram's a bit more personalized for me because SEO gets little to no fucking engagement on there as well. So I think LinkedIn. I'm the same as you. I fucking hate LinkedIn, but I think it would be more SEO related stuff that I would put on there.
right. Right.
I'm not going to put a picture of me and Charlie on LinkedIn. So I think it's definitely understanding what type of audience is on each of the platforms, and I think Facebook for sure. It's just guys that I've met over the years and years and years, and they don't need to hear any more SEO stuff. They
Right.
really
Right.
don't. If they want to, I'm sure they can come to YouTube or fucking hit me up with a message or something. But and I'm like, fuck, change it up, Craig, and attack it
Right.
in that way. So and for me that's getting more traction.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think you're right about, there was a guy, and I can't remember his name, at SEO spring training that happened, just this last one in April, the conference there. But he made a great presentation and just talking about kind of basically what you're going through in regards to Facebook is that, and really he emphasized and underlined the point that people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And you can convey that like on Facebook through your posting there by being much more personal
Yeah.
in regards to your post. So like when you're saying that people are engaging more, like when you do a family pic or put up Charlie on there and yada yada, it's people like, oh, I want to connect with Craig, right? I want to
Mhm.
blah 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 blah. And you will get more activity, and people will begin to even build more and more trust with you because you're being transparent, because you're being vulnerable, right? And so they feel like they're connecting with you more. And then in those, what he would say, in those rare instances that you do put out, like you would say maybe a reminder, oh, hey, just by the way, our SEO agency is doing great. Not even a sell, but just like, hey, we've got, our link agency just acquired our 1,000th client. So excited. Boom. Right. And
Yeah.
then people are like, oh shit, you got what? Right. And so they begin to resonate and then think more about it. And so it was a good presentation. He gave a lot of examples of people just like blew up their business in a good way
Yeah.
from leads by doing that kind of stuff, that kind of an approach. So I thought it was good.
No, I think I obviously wasn't there, but I like hearing that type of stuff from other people because
Yeah.
I'm just figuring things out for myself and going with what's in my head.
Mm,
So it's nice to hear that someone else has
yeah.
noticed that um, and has a theory of why that may work. Uh, but yeah, it just something triggered in me, and I'm just like, fuck, no one's liking the kind of Chris Palmer session on
Mm,
Facebook, and they're probably like, fuck, Craig, you've done fucking hundreds of them. That is for a totally different audience,
right. Right. Right.
and yeah, it just took me a while for that to click in my head.
You're from Glasgow. You guys aren't that bright over there.
Oh,
Hey, folks, don't forget if you got some questions or anything on this, throw them out in the chat. I do have a question for you, Craig. So when we're talking about Facebook ads specifically, there's different types of ads and things that you can do on Facebook. There certainly is just the Facebook ad, and you can do the forms. We kind of talked a little bit about that. But do you ever do some of the other stuff? Do you ever boost a post as an example?
no, I used to. Um, I don't know who it was that said it to me. I was trying to think, but someone once told me that boosting a Facebook post is like cheating. You've got the Facebook Ads Manager, which gives you a lot more targeting options.
Right.
Boosting a Facebook post to a very loose audience. Did I really get much from it? Nah. I would say that the targeting was fairly loose. It almost felt like Facebook would just take your money and not do much with it. Whereas I feel that utilizing the options when you do it properly, and the Facebook Ads Manager, I just feel that I can get a lot more targeted onto the right people. And I don't know who it was that said it to me, but I thought, because I used to do the old boosting a Facebook post and all that
Right.
stuff,
Right.
and I thought, that person's full of shit. Like, how can it be cheating? And something kept going around my head, and I'm like, is there something in what they've said? And I genuinely believe that I go into the Facebook Ads Manager now. I wouldn't do a boost in a post now. I just genuinely
Yeah.
wouldn't. I think it's
Yeah.
it's taking money for nothing. And
Yeah.
yes, you'll get a wee bit of engagement, but who are these people, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, and plus you have very little to like pull back from it. Meaning you're not getting a lead, you're not getting an email, you're not well, I don't even what is the end result? What is your return on that aside from that one time maybe little bit of engagement?
Yeah, and unless your video is really super funny or
Yeah.
an amazing service that no one's ever heard of before,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not likely to work. Do you know what I mean? We're all selling the
Yeah.
same shit, really.
Yeah.
So unless your video is outrageously good, I just don't think that the Facebook boosting is the best way to use your money. Obviously, you go into Facebook Ads Manager, you can upload emails and all of that kind of. There's just a lot more you can do to make sure you hit the right people,
Mm,
and that's where I'd rather every buck I spend, I want it to be spent properly,
yeah.
and that can only come from the back end.
Yeah. 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 Completely agree.
Um,
Uh that's a good question here. Facebook
Callum,
ads, Callum F. Facebook ads a good way to increase traffic to certain pages on the website for SEO. And I think we both would say yes to that. And you've probably used it much more than what I've done it for.
yeah, I mean, we all know that engagement signals are important from an SEO perspective, and I just can't for the life of me understand why people are obsessed with using bots rather than just going and doing a kind of cheap
Mhm.
Facebook campaign, even locally, just
Yeah,
sending
yeah,
something in,
yeah.
to the website. And is that going to help um, your SEO? Of course it is. Those engagement signals massively help. I do really feel that that's a big part of SEO is those engagement signals.
Mm,
And 100%, if I've got a page and I need to rank it, well, I do Facebook ads to that page, of
mhm.
course.
Yeah,
And
so you're doing the ad, you're not utilizing the form on Facebook, you're sending them to the page, to the direct link, like, "Hey, for more information," or whatever the button you're using on the ad or whatever the call to action is, you're taking them right off the Facebook platform and going to your page.
yeah, in certain instances, I still think leading people off of Facebook to your website, your landing page, is not always the best thing to be doing. Um,
Right.
but if I'm looking at a page from an SEO perspective,
Yeah,
uh,
for this objective, though, it makes
yeah,
if your objective is, "I need to get some traffic to this page for
yeah,
engagement," right? It's a completely different objective.
yeah. So for that objective, 100%.
Yeah,
For grabbing data, I think leading them off is just ridiculous. I think you'll get much more leads or emails through the Facebook form. So different objectives, different
yeah,
goals
yeah.
for that. But um,
Now the critical piece, to be sure, because I know you mentioned this a little while back, but I know that a lot of people don't do this. Be sure you've got your Facebook pixel on your page so you can go back and retarget these people that do come and engage on that page, right?
yeah,
So as need be. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is, I've run across so many clients just like, okay, where's your Facebook pixel? Yeah, yeah,
before you even consider starting Facebook ads, have the pixel on already.
yeah,
Have the Facebook pixel on now, even if it's 3
yeah,
months time that you're going to start
yeah,
your ads. Have the fucking pixel on now,
yeah,
because I think
yeah.
you can go. Is it 180 days?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it is. I think it's 180 days, like 6 months worth of
yeah,
Facebook will go back and look at, like, 6 months worth of traffic on your site
yeah,
and understand based off of that pixel that you have on
yeah.
there, right, to understand your audience better.
So you can go back and target 6 months worth of data, or retarget, should I say?
Yeah,
And as I say, if you're not doing it for 3 months, get the fucking pixel on now, because
yeah, yeah,
if you're targeting hot or warmer leads who've been on your website and whatever else, it's likely to convert better. So
yep,
don't just be peeing in the wind.
yep.
Um,
In the wind. Nice.
Peeing in the wind. You must have peed in the wind before, Randy, as a kid, peeing and then it all blows back in your leg.
Oh, hell, just last month, I was out backpacking with my son, and I peed and it got all over me because all of a sudden it gusts like, "Shit."
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to actually admit that, but Brian, any recommendations on Facebook lead forms? I haven't been able to get those to work well. So, Randy, you said that didn't work as well, right? For
No, the lead forms, I got more leads from them, actually,
Mhm.
emails, more data, actually, that what I was trying to collect on the ads. Um, what I was saying is I was kind of testing a couple of different things because I was conversion minded, meaning like more I wanted more immediate conversion. So I was testing on, do I double opt in, so to speak, on the lead form. So you send them to the form and you can do more, right? Hey, click here again, click down to this one kind of thing. Um, Thinking that if they had to go through a couple of more hoops to get the information to me, that they would be bought in more on the information versus if I just like, boom, and sign up here. I didn't see any difference on the conversion, but I got a lot more data by just as simple of a form as I can get. not make them jump through multiple hoops, and just get the data.
Yeah. I think that's what I would advise, Brian, is try not to be too smart with it in the early stages. Grab the data and then you can work your magic in your funnel.
Yeah,
I think the great thing about the Facebook forms for me is obviously people can click auto fill it in, boom, and that's it. But it's just the bare basics, and then work from there. I've seen them work very, very well. I'd say it's actually a key part to the overall process is just not to take them to the form in your website or whatever. I
mhm,
think it,
mhm.
conversions are massively increased using the Facebook lead
Yeah,
forms.
yeah,
But it's niche to niche and stuff. Just certainly for the people that I know that I've said that to, like Ryan and stuff. He's went away and he's like, fuck, I get 6 leads overnight, Craig. I was getting fuck all before that. And I'm like, told you so. So
yeah,
Ryan's then doubled down and tweets things, and he's doing very well,
yeah,
from it.
yeah. And I don't know about you, I'm a big fan of, like, um being very limited on the data ask or the information request from the lead. Like, I am fine with just getting an email. Sometimes I'll do the form where I get, like, a first name in an email, because 'cause
Mhm.
I'm a big believer, like, the more I ask, like, "Hey, I want your name, your first name, last name, an email, phone number, zip code," right? I put all that shit in, that I know that my conversion on that form is gonna be far less. People are
Yeah.
not they don't wanna put all that shit in. So I go very simple, and I just went, "Man, just give me an email." I'll ask for a first name. People aren't so, you know, reserved about giving a first name, like, "Yeah, Randy, and here's my email." But that's generally all that I ask for, because I'll get it other because I don't need a phone number. I don't do any marketing
Yeah.
by SMS. So
Mhm.
I don't do it that way.
I think you're right. I think it makes perfect sense to just quickly grab what the basics. I know personally when it comes to forms for me, if it's a big ask, I'm like, nah, I'm not giving you that data. End of story, because I know that I'll get letters and junk and
Yeah.
everything else. So I think keeping it simple gets volume, Brian, and then, like I said, work your magic on
Yeah.
retargeting and your funnel and everything else. I think that's the key part.
Yeah, and I do know that people, so if you have a service business, if you're a roofer or something like that, a home services business, like, that zip code can be more beneficial there, because then you can, begin to market more directly and or direct them to something, so you get a better idea of, like, well, is this lead even within my service area? So sometimes people do, I've seen that, and not be, detrimental on the conversion of it by putting up a zip code if your marketing outreach, if that's meaningful to you. But yeah, I just try to go as simple as possible on this stuff. Yeah.
Simple is easy. I think that's the one thing I would say to anyone in marketing is too many people try and overcomplicate a lot of the stuff, and you're like, just
Yeah.
simple fucking basic steps, and,
Yeah.
you'll do all right.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you. What do you think converts better? Meaning, we're already like, I'm going to do the Facebook ad. I'm going to use their form, simple form. What do you think converts better, or attention grabber, a video or an image carousel? One image or multiple image carousel?
Um, for me personally, um, videos convert a hell of a lot better. Um, I've tried everything, and I've been the face of a lot of other people's videos as well. A lot of people say, "Oh, can I use your face on the ad and all that stuff?" And videos just convert better.
Yeah.
I've done it for.
Oh shit. Should I ask you if I'm going to use your face on a
Um,
Sorry. Yeah, I generally always have, by the way. So yeah.
but I've done it. obviously on a personal level. But I've worked with affiliate world conferences where I've been the face of the promotion and stuff, and they're like, that really stupid video that you done is the best performing video. It's had a bit of fun in it, or whatever it was. I think I'd done some crazy dancing in it, and I was drunk, but good, it converted. It looked like we had a good time. So, in my own personal experience, I feel that the videos work better. I've got my own link agency, but I've also worked with Gary Wilson, who had his link agency, and he used to use my video on there as well, and various other people that were in the industry. And I just think the videos for our game certainly work a lot better. Yeah. But it depends. I think a video for us verbally trying to get more information out in a quick video is easier. I think if you've got something more visually appealing, there'll be an argument that the carousel is for a hairdressers or right. Something that requires a nice visual rather than mildly mug on it. Right. Then I'm pretty sure it could be different. Just to bear that in mind. But if you're asking me the question, I'm going to say videos is certainly work best for the people that I know, and obviously for me personally.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. For my purposes, for specifically, the videos have always converted much better than what I could convey kind of with images, in regards to, our services that we're doing. But I think you're right. Depending upon what the niche is and what your business is, what your, an image can be just fine and really does speak to, because, whether you're hairdo or you're caring for elderly in-home healthcare for the elderly, or selling flowers or cookies or whatever, sometimes the images can be as powerful or better actually than a video. And I do think with videos, and what I've seen is that videos with me doing it live have always performed better than some kind of AI generated talking information and doesn't have me in it. And I don't know if I know that's just been my experience, but
I mean, why would you have listen, I get it. I know people are, nervous and not always wanting to be in camera, but of course, you said it at the very start, people buy into people. Why would you, resonate with a fucking AI voiceover? It's just, I think your chances of conversions and whatnot have decreased by 70% by having that type of ad. And listen, I think each to their own, and some people are not comfortable with it, but I think I would always try and use a human being, even if it wasn't me personally. I would say a human being's always going to come across a lot better. And if I had to employ someone just to sit for 15 seconds and say, right, here we do this, we do that, we do that, right, I think that's going to convert better than a robotic AI version of someone. Although I seen in the mastermind Victoria's fake Victoria.
Oh man, that is good.
And I'm like, oh Jesus, this could cause riots out there. Cloning people, and obviously I know the accent was a bit dicey for Victoria, but it was good effort.
Well, good effort, and the other thing to keep in mind, this is like still fairly new technology. I mean, give it 6 months and like think how good it will be then, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's certainly, how quickly it has all moved is scary. I remember probably even 6 months ago trying to do an AI image for something, and it was the worst image I've ever seen in my life. Absolute worst image I've seen in my life. And then obviously you see boys like Joe Marichich and doing all their mid-journey stuff and whatever else, and like, fuck, it has massively advanced. So I think we've just got to embrace it. But the video, I was shocked at it really looked like Victoria.
It did look like her. I wasn't even paying attention to the accent, but what she was using, HiGen, I think was
Yeah,
was the platform that she was using to help do that and do different stuff with it, and I haven't played around with that platform, but I was impressed, so just the visual output of it was, man,
the, the visuals amazing, but for me, the accent is. I know technology's good, and I know Holly's
yeah,
done her, fucking around with Chris Palmer's voice and all that kind of stuff. But see, when I heard mine, when Holly done the AI version of my voice, Holly says it sounds like me. I genuinely didn't think it sounded like me. I'm just like, you can tell a mile away it's not. And I think I could tell a mile away it wasn't Victoria's voice as well. And yeah, I think the voice needs a bit of work. But
yeah.
from there, if that voice becomes really good, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, no, it's gonna get yeah, and it will continue to get better. All right, so let's do a summary on some of this stuff. So Facebook ads do well. Highlights though of it, send it directly to your form, or to the use the Facebook form. Keep it simple, keep the form simple, collect the data. Um, I think we're in agreement. Video probably works well better on the ad than images, but again, depending upon your niche, right? What you can get by with. And then follow up like a crazy bastard on with the emails, right? Think long term. Don't think short term like what I got to convert in the next 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, we all would pay for a targeted email list. We all would. If I
Yeah.
says to you,
Yeah.
Randy, give me X amount of money for, a really hot targeted SEO mailing list, you'd be like, sure, I'll give it a punt. But you need to be prepared to invest in the data and build
Right.
your,
Right.
your list. And that's the you cannot cold target and win business straight off the bat. You just can't. You are literally pissing in the wind, and so you've got to pay up front for the data, whatever you guys call it, and you have to get your head around it. That is part of the journey, and everyone falls off, or most people fall off at the first stage of that journey because
Yeah.
they're not prepared to invest and get it right, and tweak it and fine tune the campaign. They're not prepared to try a carousel versus a video ads. They're not prepared to try multiple services. They're not prepared to test, and
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference between people say, how can you be so good at Facebook, Craig, and stuff? It's just because I give it more time. I understand the underlying strategy behind it, and I don't expect to just make money straight away. And I think that is why Facebook can work very, very well, as if you give it the time, the resource, and obviously pay up front and for the data. And retarget was one other thing that you didn't touch
Oh
on.
yeah. 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 Yep.
Retargeting is the biggest thing out with the email. I know your email is still targeting or
Right.
retargeting an audience, but just remind people you're there through Facebook ads. Just follow them around the internet softly, and I think between all of that, I think you've got a reasonable Facebook strategy there.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't forget the pixel, the Facebook pixel. You gotta put it on your site.
It's scary, dude, the amount of people that don't, and you're missing out on 180 days worth of data.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get it installed. It's free.
Yeah.
Snippet of code, copy and paste into the header of your website. Job done.
Job done.
But
So
is that us for the day, Randy?
I think that's us for the day, buddy.
Cool. Well, guys, before we do wrap up, we are back at the same time next week. And we do these sessions weekly. We change the topic weekly. But you must like and subscribe to the channel. You don't have to really, but it would be nice if you did.
Yeah, it would be nice.
And it would also be nice if you do check out Randy, the news guy. The link is below. That is Randy himself, for digital PR. And he does a lot of other stuff as well. So it's worth reaching out and seeing what Randy does. And yeah, we will be back at the same time next week, everyone.
There we go. All right. Have a
Right,
good week,
Randy.
guys.
Thank you.
All right.